Hi everyone, Abby here, and welcome back to my channel for Tech Tuesday, or welcome if you're new. Now today, I'm going to be reviewing the new Garmin Venu 3S. But before I get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed so you can stay tuned to all my new videos dropping weekly and so you can help the channel grow. So I have the Garmin Venu 3S here in the color Dust Rose Soft Gold. It does have a dust rose colored band and soft gold accents. And it did come out in some other great colors as well, which you could see on screen. And the current price as of recording for this smartwatch is $599.99 Canadian and $449.99 American. And now I'm going to go into the major spec highlights about this smartwatch so you can get an idea about what it can do. So this smartwatch has a 1.2-inch AMOLED color display, a Gorilla Glass 3 lens, it has an 18mm quick release watch band, and it has a battery life up to 10 days as a smartwatch. It can track various metrics such as your calories burned, your floors climbed, your distance walked, your active minutes, your heart rate, your stress, and more. You can also track a variety of workouts and activities such as running, yoga, walking, swimming. It has built-in GPS so you can get those outdoor activities tracked. It also has music download capability so you can download hundreds of songs using Spotify, Amazon Music, Deezer, as well as your own MP3 files. The smartwatch also has hydration tracking to track all your water. It has women's health, Garmin Pay, voice assistant. You can track your HRV status. It has a built-in speaker and mic, so you can take calls directly on your watch. You can also view and reply to smartphone notifications. It has a wheelchair mode, which is a great feature that is new, and this smartwatch is compatible with both Apple and Android phones, and more. Now, these are not all of the features about this smartwatch, but these are definitely the most important, I think. And all right, guys, this is what it looks like on me. And I do have a 7-inch wrist. And this is the Garmin Venu 3S. S stands for small. If you did want to, get the bigger version, that one does fit larger wrist sizes. And I have all the wrist sizes that both watches can fit on screen for you guys. I found this smartwatch to be very comfortable to wear. It is lightweight. It's pretty breathable with all the holes that are present in the band. And I've had no irritation whatsoever to the band or the watch here. And all right, guys, if you're finding this video helpful so far, please go ahead and smash that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. Now, when it comes to the display on the smartwatch, with the Gorilla Glass here, there's a little bit of reflection, but not too bad, honestly. And the AMOLED color display here, you can see bright, bold, punchy colors. Right now, you can see my watch face, which is kind of a purple on black, very contrasting and easy to read. And one great thing about the display with this smartwatch is that Garmin has given us the ability to pump up our font size. So they do have a new large font size option, which is excellent. That can be very helpful for those of you who you find it hard to read things that are smaller. And right now I do have the brightness on low and then automatic. So within that kind of bubble here, it pumps up or down the brightness depending on the lighting. So I'm gonna go up. That is at medium, and here we have it at high. You guys can see it's definitely brighter. Keep in mind that this is gonna drain your battery life real quick. So I do not use that setting personally. One thing I do want to mention about the display here is that you do have an optional always on display option, so you can choose to keep your display on. I will say if you do this, your battery life is gonna reduce significantly. I don't use that feature because basically without it, I can have my smartwatch lasting double what it would have lasted with that on. And if I were to want an always on display with good battery life, that's when I would look at Garmin's memory and pixel displays, which they have on some things like the Forerunner 255, the Fenix 7, the Fenix 6, the Vivo Active 4S. Those are some smartwatches that do have a memory and pixel display, which is always on and great battery life with it. And here's the display outdoors in natural lighting conditions. So when you are outdoors with the AMOLED display here, you can definitely see more glare. You do have the manual brightness on. You're definitely gonna have to pump up the brightness so you can read it easier. Or I'd recommend leaving it on auto brightness so the smartwatch can do that for you. But once the brightness is high enough, it's definitely readable in my opinion. So when it comes to activity tracking with this smartwatch, it does great. It's a Garmin watch. Garmin watches are fantastic at tracking your workouts and your activities. I'm gonna show you guys just right now everything it tracks. So here are some of my most used, and here are the rest of them. Whenever I'm doing like an outdoor activity like a walk, for example, I find that it picks up the GPS really quickly. And the GPS in my experience has been reliable and hasn't dropped on me. And it has given me, I think, accurate pace and elevation rates and an accurate route as well. You cannot view the maps on here because this smartwatch doesn't have built-in maps. So once you sync your watch to your phone, you can view your route and all of the GPS data. And another great thing about Garmin watches here is that you can connect your external Bluetooth devices, like if you have an external heart rate sensor, or if you have like a speed and cadence sensor for biking, you can connect all of those devices here. And that's something I really like, especially for, cycling. I really like getting all of that speed and cadence data. And we do have a heart rate variability status as well. This is a feature that I know my runners out there love to have. People are always asking me if smartwatches have that. So this is the last cardio workout I did, about 35 minutes. See my average heart rate. Little graph of the heart rate as well with the max and minimum heart rate. Here you can see my heart rate zones, as well as calories burned, active and resting. And it gives you a little message of the benefit that that workout did for you, as well as the amount of body battery that was drained during it. So here we can see my sleep duration, we can see a sleep quality, and we can see a sleep score, and that's out of 100. I can click this little yellow, part up here for more information. And then swiping up, I can see a little graph of my sleep. So I can see when I fell asleep, when I woke up, all the sleep stages there. Now here is the part where I think not the most accurate. Time awake, definitely off. I know I was awake for more. So basically you could take this with a grain of salt. For me, the most important thing is the sleep message I'm getting and the sleep duration. That's what I want to know. And I do find that pretty spot on. So in addition to tracking your sleep, it also tracks naps. Now this can be something that's very exciting for some of you because this is the first Garmin watch that I know of that tracks naps. Now I will say I am not a napper. I have not napped since I was a little child or unless I'm sick. I've tried to nap for you guys to get some napping data, but I just can't do it. Couldn't fall asleep. But Garmin did say on the website, on the specs, that it does track naps. That's something that's a nice addition to see here because Garmin did not have that for so long. All right, guys, so now I'm gonna get into women's health. So for my males out there who do not want to see this section or anybody else, you can go ahead and use my timestamps to write down here and skip to the next section where I'm going to be talking about battery life. So if I do go ahead and open up the women's health, it'll tell you the day you are in your cycle. And you can also go ahead and add daily symptoms, your mood, discharge, and more. I do want to say right off the bat, if there are things that you don't want to see, like sex drive or ovulation, for example, you can go into the Garmin app and take those off. Just report on the things that you do actually want to report on. So starting off with the symptoms, we can see a bunch of them here. And I love that they're all in alphabetical order, neat and tidy. We also have our mood we can track for the day. And once again, I love that it's not just like happy, sad. There are so many more options available for your mood. You can also track a discharge. You can say if you're ovulating, if you know you are. You can say how your sex drive is for the day. And if it is your period, you can go ahead and also track the flow intensity. It'd be like low, medium, heavy. And there's also period prediction, which you can find in the Garmin app. And in my experience, I have found it to be spot on accurate. And I do find the women's health here very easy to use, and it's something that I find helpful to use every day just to track my daily symptoms. So when it comes to the battery life for the smartwatch, it does have a quoted battery life up to 10 days as a smartwatch. Now with my usage, things like GPS walks, runs, daily alarms, timers, and more, I have gotten on average 7 days of battery life with this watch. And one thing I love about Garmin is that they have excellent battery life. And I will say that is my battery life I get with the always on display off. With the always on display on, I've gotten about 3 to 4 days. It kind of fluctuates there depending on the watch face that I am using. So for me, I don't want to charge my smartwatch multiple times a week. So I keep that off, but you do have that option available for you if you're someone who you really want the always on display. And the battery life is definitely something that will differ depending on each individual person's usage because we all use our smartwatches differently. So you might get something actually higher or lower than what I get. All right guys, so now I'm going to show you a quick overview of how to use this smartwatch, the basics here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is turn on the display. You can do that by double tapping the display. You can also do it by pressing any of the buttons here. And if you do have it on your wrist and you have gestures turned on, you can go ahead and turn it towards your face and the screen will light up. And alternatively, you can turn on the optional always on display, but keep in mind when you do that, your battery life is essentially halved than what you'd be getting otherwise. So once the display is on, you can choose to swipe up or down, and you could see all of your metrics. You could also find your battery life and the date here as well. And if you go ahead and click on one, for example, you can see that in a bigger view. And you can either swipe right to go back, or you can click the bottom button here. So if you swipe to the right, you can see whatever shortcut you have here. For me, I have alarms as a shortcut because it's something I use very often. If you go ahead and press the top button here, you're going to open up your activities and apps, and you can kind of go through here and start a workout. Alternatively, when you're at this page, you can go to the new app section and open an app here as well. If I go ahead and I hold the top button here, I open up my shortcut menu, the controls panel, and here you can see some shortcuts to things. If I go ahead and press the middle button here, that's gonna open up your most recent used apps. And honestly, guys, this is one of my favorite buttons that we have here. I find myself using certain apps quite often, and I like being able to just press this button to pull them up quickly. If you go ahead, once again, and you hold this button, you're gonna open up your voice assistant. What time is it?
It's 7:48 a.m.
And if you go ahead and hold the bottom button, you're going to open up your settings menu. And here you can access everything you need to change on the watch. And another thing I'm going to show you guys is how to change the watch faces and the watch faces that I have on here. There's definitely a variety of them to choose from. So here are all the watch faces I have here. And if you're not a huge fan of the watch faces that come installed, you do have an option to get more watch faces from the Garmin Connect IQ app. I will say, as the Venu 3S is kind of new, there's not all that many cute options. That's the basics of how to use a smartwatch here. When it comes to the smartwatch, you can hear different sounds and tones. So while you're doing, certain workouts, it does give you spoken feedback.
Lap 2, 14 seconds.
Another thing you'll hear sounds on is with the voice assistant, of course. Set a timer for 5 minutes.
Sure, 5 minutes. Starting now.
You can accept and deny phone calls and take them directly on your watch here. But keep in mind, you do need to have your phone present. It has to be within Bluetooth range or the calling will not work. And when it comes to the call quality, it's pretty good. I haven't really had anybody say like my voice sounds weird. I've taken a couple of calls and at the end I'm just like, hey, did I sound any different? And people are just like, no, why? And I'm like, oh, I'm talking on a smartwatch, and nobody knew any difference. So I take that as a win, and I definitely think the call quality here is good. Another thing you can do on here with the sounds is you can play your music directly from the speakers on the smartwatch here. So you have an option to do that with your music, as well as an option to play your music through Bluetooth headphones. So I'm just gonna play some like copyright-free music so you guys can hear some of it. And keep in mind, that was the volume at real low. I'm gonna turn it up, and it might not sound loud to you guys, but it gets pretty loud in person. This is max volume. And for those of you who are wondering how this compares to the Venu 2S, if I think it's worth the upgrade or not, I'm gonna be covering that in my Venu 3S versus Venu 2S comparison coming soon. So make sure you're subscribed with your post notification bells turned on so you don't miss that video. So when it comes to smartwatch, I have noticed some cons about it. Now, the first con for me is that I have experienced some music syncing issues. When I tried to download Spotify playlists, multiple times I got like sync failed as a message, which was very annoying. That's happened to me on some older smartwatches, but I had never had that happen on a new Garmin watch. I was able to get music on by repeatedly attempting this, but it is something that I find annoying. So that's definitely a con for me. Another con for me is that I find the pulse ox is just off sometimes. Sometimes it's way too low. My typical pulse ox values are between 99 to 100%. Garmin watch here will routinely get that wrong. It might say 93, 94, 95. That's something I don't find super accurate when it does come to pulse ox. I definitely think that needs improvement. Another con for me is kind of the color options. I don't get why Garmin gave us 3 different smartwatches with the soft gold color here. I would have loved to see a rose gold or a classic gold, like a yellow gold, but instead we don't have that. That's a con for me because the fact that we do have soft gold here, it does make it harder to match with certain jewelry and accessories, because most people predominantly, when you have gold, you have a traditional gold that's yellow or you have a rose gold. And this color is neither of those, so it makes it hard to match with your other jewelry. And the final con for me is that, in my opinion, Garmin is not the best when it comes to sleep tracking. It is definitely off when it comes to sleep stages. This is something that honestly Garmin has been struggling with for years. Their sleep stages are not super accurate. I would love to see an improvement with that, especially in the new smartwatches. And all right guys, considering the price, the quality, the color, the comfort, the performance, the battery life, and everything like that, I would go ahead and give this a 9.6 out of 10. I definitely do give it a thumbs up. And if you guys are looking to pick up the new Garmin Venu 3S here, I've gone ahead and left a link down in the description for you to use. And if there's anything I missed today that you want to know, just go ahead and drop a comment below. I do read all the comments and I'll definitely get back to you. Thanks for watching guys, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.